From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2433, this is Ham Nation Headlines for Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. With Hamvention 2024 in the books, the next major amateur radio convention convenes this month in Germany.
As Ham Radio Friedrichshafen prepares to welcome visitors from the 28th to the 30th of June, Germany itself is preparing to welcome the first amateur radio operators to hold the country's new Class N license. Candidates who have been studying for the big day can sit the Class N license exam at Friedrichshafen, where two of the earliest tests are being given on the 28th and the 29th. A passing grade will give Germany's newest amateurs access to 70 centimeters, 2 meters and 10 meters at a maximum power of 10 watts. The 47th edition of the International Radio Trade Fair, Europe's largest, takes its inspiration this year from the Islands on the Air Award scheme, which is marking its 60th anniversary. The Youth Ham Camp and Ham Rally are both returning following their absence during the COVID pandemic. More than 300 commercial exhibitors and associations are expected to be on hand as well. This is Jeremy Boot, G4NJH.
There's amateur radio, there's amateur astronomy, and there's amateur radio astronomy. All of that is about to come together under one roof in upstate New York.
The Chautauqua Amateur Radio Service has quite a few things in common with the Martz Coal Observatory in Frewburg, New York, a nonprofit facility focusing on citizen science, science education, and outreach. What they have most in common are the names on their respective membership rosters. In fact, so many club members belong to the observatory that the next step was a natural progression of their relationship. Club treasurer Bob Swanson, KD2PZV, told the Post-Journal that the Hams have been looking for a permanent home and the observatory seemed to be just the right spot. He said the observatory has a busy calendar of events that can incorporate ham radio participation. In fact, the next event most certainly will be all about amateur radio. It's the ARRL Field Day on June 22nd and 23rd, when the Chautauqua amateurs will be calling CQ Field Day on the observatory property not far from the county's highest points. Bob expressed hope that the observatory and the Hams can craft an agreement that also makes them partners in science education initiatives there. That will help visitors keep an eye on the stars and the planets, as well as on the radio waves everywhere. This is Andy Morrison, K9AWM.
Who's better at building things than some amateur radio operators? Well, one club in Mississippi has been building a partnership with a local library, and it just took a new step in keeping those bonds strong.
The Jackson Amateur Radio Club has already shown its Mississippi community the power of amateur radio thanks to a newly formed partnership with the public library system in suburban Madison County. Now the library has a pair of 3D printers, gifts to the library from the Hams to encourage library patrons to engage in maker activities that might be useful to amateur radio or other electronics-related activities. Frank Howell, K4FMH, described the gift in a recent blog post explaining that the printers, which have a combined retail value of $3,000, will be free for the patrons to use provided they cover the cost of the resin used to print any files. A June 7th press release from the club, Frank, assistant director for ARRL's Delta Division, praised the club as a national leader in creating this kind of relationship with public libraries, calling libraries the most common cultural crossroad in the U.S. Earlier this year, the club hosted the first of what will be quarterly events for the library system, introducing patrons to the process by which they can get their ham radio license. The library system has also committed to having at least one staff member at each branch get their license too, and have a basic radio shack on the premises. This is Sel Emby, KB3 TZD.
And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news since 1976 at arnewsline.org. With Jeremy Boot, G4NJH, Andy Morrison, K9AWM, Sel Emby, KB3TZD, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe. I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation.